Good day! Are we digitally ready? This is a question that teachers and learners are probably asking right now. With the advent of DepEd's Digital Rights program, the Open Educational Resources, or OER, was woven together and finally realized. This project prioritizes the necessity to enhance the digital literacy skills of every teacher and learner in the country. Our OER mission is to connect the disconnected. OER is indeed an innovative initiative with a lofty aim to get disconnected schools and last-mile schools connected through ICT even without an internet connection.
It is designed to cater to the need of these schools for interactivity, digitalization, and delivery of 21st century skills that will ensure that every learner is future ready. Join us in another training workshop and learn more about open educational resources, whose primary purpose is to provide support and assistance to learners and teachers in this rapid advancement of technology. Our goal is to build and strengthen the capabilities of public and private teachers, school heads, and supervisors by teaching you to create and design interactive, localized, and contextualized instructional materials for teaching using basic, advanced, and proficiency software and tools. Surely, this will be another exciting and engaging webinar training workshop. Together, let's all rise amidst this crisis. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, para sa guro. Sulong, ito kalidad!
Magandang araw! Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng DepEd Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del P. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Good afternoon po, everybody. I'm your tutor for this afternoon, Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person. First of all, gusto ko muna i-greet ang aming SDS ng Olongapo City, si Madam Lailani Samson Cunanan. Hello po sa inyo sa lubong SDO po ng Olongapo City at sa aking mga kapaguro po ngayon na nasa New Cabalan National High School. Ganon din po yung mga students po natin, yung mga learners po natin at mga ka-teachers ko rin po na nanonood po ngayon. So, ang lesson po natin, ang subject po natin is all about Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person. So, nasa quarter 3, week 1 na po tayo. The very first topic po in this lesson, in this subject matter. So, doing philosophy. So, I am your tutor for this afternoon. I'm Tutor Eresa from the SDO of Olongapo. Magandang tanghali po sa inyo. So, in lesson 1, sa week 1 po natin, it is divided into 3 parts. The nature and functions of philosophy, the philosophical tools and processes, and philosophical reflection. So, these 3 parts po, ito po yung mahalaga in the first week of these subject matters. No? Kasi it's mostly yung first week na ito, based on our level po, no? Is more on the differentiation of the holistic point of view and the partial point of view, pati yung philosophical reflections. But first and foremost, we we need to define sa ating mga learners since sila ay mga grade 11 students and first time nila na magkaroon ng philosophy subject. So, kailangan malaman muna nila kung ano nga ba ang filosofiya at gaano nga ba ito kahalaga sa ating pag-aaral. So, intro to philosophy, for our grade 11 students or grade 12 na nag-undergo nito, this is a core subject. Kasi we have applied and specialized subjects. So, core subject po siya. So, meaning, lahat po kung open siya this quarter, so buong grade 11, merong introduction to philosophy, or kung grade 12, meron siyang intro to philosophy. So, for quarter 3, week 1, are you ready na po ba? So, sa mga learners natin, ready your pen and paper, your learning modules na hawak po ninyo for this week. And of course, your peace of mind and hearts. And if you have some comments and reactions, I'm watching now in the DepEd Philippines ko para po ma-check kung meron po kayong mga queries. So what is philosophy? Lagi yung katanungan. No? Pagdating sa philosophy, ano nga ba ito? At sino ba yung mga important persons when it comes to this topic? But first of all, let's check muna these pictures. Yung picture sa Tagalog po sa Google. So, ano yung nakikita nila sa larawan? Sabi rito ng isa, it's a snake. Sabi, it's a spear. It's a fan. It's a wall. It's a rope. Or it's a tree. So, what do you notice from the pictures? Ano yung nakikita natin? Did anyone get the correct answer? Yes or no? Actually, dun sa mga sumagot, dun sa pictures na yan, wala namang nakakuha ng tamang sagot, no? Kung ano nga ba talaga ang imahe na yan. Although it is an elephant, sabi nga ng anak ko kanina, Mommy, it's an elephant. Sabi ko sa kanya, yes, I know, baby, pero yung mga people na yan, they didn't get the correct answers na it's an elephant because it's a wall, it's a rope, sabi nila. So why or why not? Bakit hindi nila nakuha yung correct answers? And what does this picture imply about our effort to understand the realities of life or answer our perennial problems? So in the study of philosophy, for this course matter, it is really all about questions and answers. And since by now, we already asked a lot of answers and questions, hundreds of answers in our life experiences. So I think we are already prepared to take our philosophical journey dito sa lessons na to. So sa philosophy, there are 3 basic questions na napakahalaga. Where am I? How do I know it? And what should I do? Okay. So how do I know it? Where am I? Lagi natin tinatanong yan, no? Kung titingnan natin, asan ba ako? Andito ako sa loob ng bahay namin. Okay, andito ako sa Olongapo City. Paano ko nalaman yan? How do I know it, no? Obviously, however, to answer these questions, another questions needs answering yun nga. How do I know it? No? How can I discover it? Or how do I know it? Should you ask as strangers for directions? Minsan, pag pumunta tayo sa isang lugar, lalo na pag naliligaw na tayo, sasabihin natin, where am I? Another question, paano ko malalaman na naliligaw na ako? No? So, ano yung gagawin mo pag naliligaw ka na? Will you ask questions from strangers? Will you take a bus or a jeepney or waiting for someone to fetch you? No? So these philosophical questions, 3 basic philosophical questions, hindi natin nare-realize, but we are already doing philosophy when we are answering these 3 questions. The reason is that these 3 questions are the primary questions of philosophy. So let us now take our attention to the nature and functions of philosophy. First, ano nga po ba ang definition ng philosophy? No? Basically, philosophy is defined as the love of wisdom. It came from the 2 Greek words, philos, meaning love, and sophia, meaning wisdom. So, the love of wisdom, the love of knowledge, and everything. Kaya nga kapag may mga nagtatanong, Ma'am, anong tinuturo mong subject? Sabi ko, philosophy. Ay, Ma'am, magaling ka, no? Genius ka siguro, Ma'am, no? Sabi ko naman sa kanila, hindi. Kasi, basically, philosophy, if you have a lot of questions on your mind, you're already doing philosophy ka ako sa mga estudyante ko. But naturally, philosophy is the love of wisdom. Lahat naman tayo, we love wisdom, we love knowledge, we love everything. No? So, saan ba nag-origin ang philosophy? So, good afternoon sa mga students na nanonood. No? Sa origin of philosophy, based sa ating modules na hinahawak kayo, na yung pivot, the birthplace of philosophy. Traditionally, philosophy is defined as the love of wisdom, and its birthplace is in Greece. No? Uh, to be more precise, it is the ancient Greek city of Miletus in the western coast of what is now called Turkey that gave birth to philosophy. So si Thales is the father of philosophy in the Western civilization. So sa kanya nag-originate yung philosophy. What made Thales a philosopher is his desire to know the ultimate stuff that makes up the different things we perceive. You see, when we look at the world, we encounter different things, people, trees, clouds, mountains, rivers, etc. Now, si Thales believed that despite the different things we encounter, there is one underlying stuff or substance of which everything is composed. Thales believes that there is one in the many, and Thales was the first individual who tried to reduce the multiplicity into a unity. But of course, since Greece is more on devoid of gods and goddesses, the old religions of Greece, it is completely for Thales, but his explanations in philosophy is more on a natural phenomena. So, in philosophy, there are different branches siya. Para din siyang pag-aaral ng these and DS. They have different branches of philosophy. So, the first one is what we call the metaphysics. Metaphysics deals with questions regarding reality and existence. And next is epistemology. It discusses the nature of knowledge and knowing. The first two branches, of philosophy, the metaphysics and epistemology, is what we call the cognitive branches of philosophy. These branches provide a description of being or the existence and knowing. They are the foundation of understanding any philosophical systems. It's more on the cognitive branches. These two, the metaphysics and epistemology. Kung titingnan nga natin yung definitions niya, it more on the reality and existence and knowledge and knowing. So, it's more on the cognitive part sa brain natin. And then the later part, the next three branches, the ethics, aesthetic, and politics, is concerned with the last of the three questions central to philosophy, yung what should I do, how do I know it. The ethics deals with moral questions and dilemmas. So, in ethics, in the study of ethics, lagi pinag-uusapan yung ethics or morality, the morality principles, immoral, amoral, yung mga ganun. And aesthetic, studies the nature of arts, the beauty and nature of arts. And politics define the principles of proper social system, the laws and the justice. So, more on the political philosophy sa branches na yan. So, ano nga ulit ang branches of philosophy? The first one, the metaphysics and epistemology, that is the cognitive branch, and then the last three part, the ethics, aesthetic, and politics. Okay, so philosophical tools and processes. There are two important things in the study of philosophy. The first one is the philosophical questions. Philosophy was born because of ignorance. If one is ignorant, he asks questions, and if he keeps on questioning, the more knowledge he acquires. Actually, we as an individuals, we have a lot of questions in our mind. Ang dami nating katanungan, ang daming answers ng bawat tanong natin. Minsan sinasabi din natin, ang dami kong problema, wala nang katapusan ito. But in philosophy, sabi nga, it is born because of our ignorance, because of so many questions, because of our seeking for knowledge and truth. So once a person stops questioning, he ceases to become a philosopher. In our daily struggles, one needs to ask questions simply because serious and deep questions that we have to grapple with. A philosopher is like a child who has an inquisitive mind, who never stops asking questions and finding answers. And one of the best person in philosophical questions is Socrates. Kasi dinevelop niya yung tinatawag natin Socratic method or Elenchus or the art of questioning. So for Socrates, kumuha ako sa Google ng example ng isang Socratic method na ito ay pambata para mas madali nating maintindihan yung Socratic method niya. Yung, is this kitten sad? Yes or no? Is kitten need help? Yes or no? So sagot niya yes. Am I a good person? Yes or no? No. Would I help this kitten? Yes or no? Yes. So give information about your eventual request in the forms of about 10 questions. And then the last one, will I donate $10 a month to this kitten fund? Yes or no? So by answering yes to every question, the respondent has convinced himself to agree with your eventual request. So this is just a sample of Socratic method for a children. Napakadali lang niya. Parang tinanong ko lang yung anak ko, bakit ka malungkot? No? Yes or no? Malungkot ka ba? Yes or no? Bakit ka malungkot? Diba? Sinong dahilan kung bakit ka malungkot? Parang ganun lang siya. The art of questioning and Socratic method. So, next one, another tools that we use is the logical reasoning. It is the process of thinking about something in a logical way in order to form a conclusion or judgment. In logical reasoning, famous na famous dito yung triumvirate philosophers natin. Si Socrates, si Plato, and si Aristotle. Napaka-famous nila when it comes to logical reasoning. And actually, pag sinabi ang pag diniscuss mo ang philosophy, yung tatlong ito ang madalas nating nababanggit na si Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Okay? So, Greek philosophers, especially si Aristotle, philosophy is about answering questions. Reasoning is the method we use in doing philosophy. For the triumvirate philosophers. Okay. After the two philosophical tools, the philosophical questions and the logical reasoning, another important thing in doing philosophy is philosophical reflections. Kasi why do we need philosophical reflections? This is an activity that requires a person to examine his or her thoughts, feelings, and actions and learn from his or her experiences. We as a learners or teachers, nagkakaroon ba tayo ng reflection? Actually, reflection, sa panahon ngayon ay gamit na gamit natin itong reflections. Kasi sa lahat po ng subject matters natin, even in my specialized subjects, tsaka sa mga core subjects na hinahawakan ko, at the latter part of my subject, lagi nandoon yung reflections. Kasi gusto nating malaman ano ba yung natutunan ng learners natin dun sa module na ibinigay natin. Actually, in our life, napakahalaga ng reflection. Sa bawat ginagawa natin sa buhay natin, nagkakaroon ba tayo ng self-reflection natin or personal reflection? Tinitingnan ba natin yung sarili natin? In a way, kung tama ba yung nagagawa natin, yung mga decisions ba natin, tama ba yung mga yun? No? In philosophy, philosophical reflection, it is important na ma-examine natin yung mga thoughts, feelings, and actions natin. And we need to learn from those things. Kasi sa reflection dun tayo natututo. Always remember na so may kasabihan nga tayo, experience is the best teacher. And paano natin malalaman that experience is the best teacher if we don't do reflections? Kaya nga reflection is important. Kasi malalaman mo lang na yung na-experience mo, ay may natutunan ka dun if you do reflections. Kasi may isang philosophers dun sa triumvirate ang nagsabi nga, unexamined life is not worth unexamined life is worth it kapag mayroong kang self-reflection. Okay. In philosophical reflections, there are two important things. Primary reflection, sa mga may hawak ng module ng pivot, we do, ang words na ginagamit niya is the primary reflection. But for my class, kasi ngayon ongoing din ang philosophy class ko na, primary reflection sa ating libro, this is the partial thinking of a partial point of view. Primary reflection, the ability to think logically and ability of the mind to construct and evaluate arguments. It examines its object by abstraction, by analytically breaking it down into its constituents parts. Gaya nga nabanggit ko kanina, sa mga may hawak ng book ng philosophy. Kasi here in our SDO, ang ginamit kasi namin yung book kasi napakarami ng book na binigay ng DepEd. So, at napakaswak na swak siya sa module natin ngayon. And primary reflection or the partial thinking, partial point of view. Ito yung hinahati-hati natin. Kung kumbaga sa isang malaking pizza, sa isang buong pizza pie, hinahati-hati natin iyon. Yung binibake nito into pieces. Okay? Paano siya? For example, nasaktan ka niya, kung sino man nanakit sa'yo. No? In primary reflection, iisipin mo muna, bakit ka nga ba nasaktan? Isa-isahin mo muna, ano yung mga dahilan, bits by bits, bakit ka nasasaktan? No? So, or partial thinking muna. No? Another point in philosophical reflection, no, is the secondary reflection, or what we call the holistic point of view. Dito tinitingnan na natin yung bigger pictures of reality. Ayun nga, nasaktan ka. Bits by bits sa primary reflection, aalamin mo bakit nga ba ako nasaktan, ano ba yung ginawa ko, no? One by one, you have different questions one by one. So, after that, no, titingnan mo na ngayon yung bigger pictures, bakit ka nasasaktan? Sino nga ba ang may pagkakamali? Ikaw ba o yung iba? No? So, titingnan mo na agad yung bigger pictures of reality, bigger pictures kung bakit ka nasasaktan. So, in secondary reflection, it's more on the holistic part or the holism, the holistic point of view ng ating reflections. Kaya in reflection, these two important things is kailangan natin ginagawa. The partial reflections, the primary reflections are what we call the partial thinking or partial point of view. And then the secondary reflections or what we call sa mga may hawak na book, it is the holistic thinking or the holistic point of view. Ginagawa ba natin to? Ako, later nakakalimutan ko minsan, no? Kasi syempre, sa dami na nang ginagawa mo, minsan nakakalimutan ko na ang holistic thinking, holistic thinking na lang ako, minsan nagkakamali ako sa mga decisions ko, kasi holistic point of view agad ako, tinitingnan ko kaagad yung bigger pictures No? Pero pag tiningnan ko pala bits by bits the reason bakit kailangan kong magalit or bakit sino nga ba ang may fault, no, is a primary reflections or partial thinking. So mahalaga ang partial thinking before you conclude to holistic, no, or secondary reflections. So we have an activity. Sa mga learners natin, pag mga ganitong reflections, how can reflections help you solve the problems? Pag mga situational siya mga anak, walang mali sa mga sagot natin, no? Because answers may vary kung titingnan niyo sa likod ng key answers. Kasi si teachers magdidepende ito sa rubrics na ibibigay niya sa inyo. So, let's have this one activity. How can reflection help you solve the problems? You heard that one of your friends was hurt in a fight with some students from a nearby school. Your other friends approached you saying that they want you to go with them after class to look for the students who hurt your friends. So what will you do, no? And how can reflections help you solve the problems? First thing foremost, sa mga students ko na sumagot na dyan, yung iba, sasabihin nila, nilalagay nila sa writings nila, they will go, but then they will report it first to the authority, no? That someone hurt their friends and they need company. Some naman, yung mga gangsta kong estudyante rin, sabihin nila, pupunta sila kasi kailangan ng friends sila ng tulong. Makiki-fight din nila sila. So in reflection, mahalaga na tingnan natin, how are we going to solve the problems? No? Pero my dear students, ang the best answer dyan is you need to report the incident to the authority. It's either to the school, kung sa school nangyari yung incident, kung sa barangay or someone. Kasi hindi maganda na kapag nag-away ang mga estudyante, no, ay tutulong kayo para makipag-away doon. Then, ang problema ay hindi ma-resolve ng another problem. So, kailangan nyo ng help. So, always ask for help from the authority or from someone na mas matanda sa inyo. Pag ganyan mga away na kailangan na ng school authority yan. Kung may guard, help agad kay guard, o kaya kapag nakita nyo agad yung isang teachers, ask for assistance agad. Huwag kayo yung basta-basta tutulong na lang sa mga away kasi mahirap na, no? Another questions? May questions po ba? Okay. So, thank you po sa mga nanonood ngayon, sa ating mga viewers. No? So, let's have a quiz, no? Quiz time. Number 1. It is an activity that requires a person to examine his or her thoughts, feelings, and actions and learn from experiences. So, yung assessment na to, nasa module po ito ng pivot. Kaya, pwede po natin maging guide po to. So, the answer for this is letter A, reflection. Next question. What is the science and art of correct thinking? A, ethics, B, aesthetics, C, metaphysics, or D, logic. Oh, may sumagot si Dana din. Tama siya kanina. No? Tingnan natin sa number 2. The answer is letter D, logic. Sa mga may hawak ng book yan, makikita niyo yung mga words na yan. Very good sa ating mga nanonood. Number 3. The type of philosophical reflection which trains the mind to think logically. Also, it is the ability of the mind to construct and evaluate arguments. Secondary reflection, tertiary, primary, or letter D, all of the above. The answer is letter A. Tama sila. Marami nakatama. Number 4. One of the triumvirate Greek philosophers who pioneered a method of argument called dialectic. Dialectic is also known as elenchus or the art of questioning or Socratic method. The answer is letter B. Si Socrates. So, hindi ko pala nabanggit. Another term for Socratic method is elenchus or the art of questioning or dialectic method approaches. Okay, number 5. It is considered as the process of thinking about something in a logical way in order to form a conclusion or judgment. The answer is letter A. Ay, maraming nakatama sa ating mga viewers. Number 6. In our daily lives, we encounter events, situations, or issues that we need to ponder and think deeply. This activity, which requires a person to examine his or her thoughts, feelings, and actions and learn from experience, is related to the concept of A, philosophical reflection, B, philosophical questioning, C, philosophical wondering, or letter D, philosophical reasoning. The answer is letter A, philosophical reflection. Very good sa mga nakatama. Si Cindy Gonzaga, hello, tama yung mga sagot mo. Okay, marami pong nakatama. Okay. So, number 7. This is a situational. Imagine that you are in Boracay walking with Thales. He is convincing you that the only reality is water. Would you believe in him? A, no, because I had my own belief. B, yes, because Thales belongs to the school of monists, which believes that only one kind of stuff exists. Letter C, either yes or no, I will have my own investigation that is based on the data and reason presented. Or letter D, neither yes nor no until it is proven true. So the correct answer is letter A, no, because I had my own belief. Number 8. According to Gabriel Marcel, this type of reflection enables us to look deeper into our experiences and see the bigger pictures of reality or the holistic point of view. Okay? A, secondary reflection, B, tertiary reflection, C, primary reflection, or letter D, all of the above. The answer is letter C. Bigger pictures of reality. Actually, the correct answer is letter A. Secondary reflection. Mali yung ano ko. Okay, number 9. Identify. Okay, so tama yung mga listeners natin na, yung mga watchers natin. The correct answer dun sa number 8 is letter A. Secondary reflections. Number 9. Identify which statement describes the difference between holism and partial thinking. Okay? Yung binabanggit ko kanina, the holistic point of view and the partial point of view. A, holism is a perspective that looks at the big pictures, while partial thinking focuses on the specific aspect of the situations. B, holism is a perspective that looks at the specific aspect of the situation, while partial thinking looks at the big pictures. Or letter C, holism requires us to focus on a certain aspect of the problem, while partial thinking requires us to have an open mindset. Or letter D, all of the above. So the correct answer is Letter A, because always remember that holistic point of view is always looking at the bigger pictures, while the partial thinking, ito yung bits by bits na specific aspect of the situation. Sabi ko nga, parang isa siyang pizza pie. Pizza na yung buong pizza, yun yung holism. Yun yung holistic thinking. While kapag hinati-hati mo na yun, that is the partial thinking. Number 10, according to the importance of studying philosophy, what can it offer us? A, know the different philosophers and their philosophies in life. Letter B, see the downs and lows in the development and history of philosophy. Or letter C, survey the achievements of the different philosophers in various periods of history. Or letter D, enhances our minds, understand what we encounter every day, and value our judgment. So the correct answer here is letter D. It enhances our minds, understands what we encounter every day, and value our judgment. Kaya napakahalaga po ng pag-aaral ng filosofiya. No? Hindi po porket para lang ito sa mga matatalino or whatever. No? Ako actually sa senior high school, wala naman tayong subject na kagaya ng sa junior high at elementary na edukasyon sa pagpapakatao. Kasi kung titingnan natin sa filosofiya, naka-incorporate na doon ang ating edukasyon sa pagpapakatao. Kasi napakaganda po ng module ng philosophy, napakaganda ng lesson sa philosophy. Kasi it focuses on the values of life, kung paano natin i-value yung life natin, kung ano yung mga different questions and reasonings natin and answers natin sa buhay natin. Kaya sa mga learners natin ngayon, mga anak, lalo na yung mga grade 11 ko dyan, no? The yung C, naman nakikinig yung A and B. So, napakagandang basahin niyo yung hawak ninyong libro, yung hawak ninyong module, kasi marami po kayong matututunan sa pag-aaral ninyo ng filosofiya. Hindi lang sa mga different philosophers, but your life. No? Kung paano ninyo i-value yung sarili niyo, kung paano ninyo i-value yung importance ng mga paligid natin, our natures, no? And everything. So, if you have comments and suggestions, email us as edtech@deped.gov.ph. Sa mga viewers po natin ngayon, maraming salamat po sa mga nakinig at nanood. Hello po sa aming SDO Olongapo City. Sa EPS po namin ng Social Science, si Ma'am Edwina Espiritu nanonood ata siya ngayon. Hello, Ma'am. So, thank you po. That's all. Magbuhay po.
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa mathematics. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!